talking to hear your own voice, that's clear.
What's going on, good people? My name is Adrian and this is Glib Talk. When politicians announce free money, especially wrapped in patriotism, you should immediately slow down and ask one question. Where did this actually come from? Because this week, President Trump announced what he called the 1776 Warrior Dividend, a one-time payment of $1,776 for members of the U.S. military. Sounds generous, sounds patriotic, sounds like a win. But here's the problem. The story you were told is not the story that actually happened. According to the announcement, eligible service members will receive a one-time $1,776 payment just in time for the holidays. The president framed it as a reward for military service and tied the number 1776 to America's founding. He also claimed the payment was possible because the government was bringing in so much new money from tariffs that they didn't even know what to do with it. In his words, "We made more money than anybody expected." And just like that, the checks were presented as both patriotic and fiscally responsible. That's the headline. Now let's slow this down. Here's the part that matters. The 1776 Warrior Dividend is not new money. It is not a bonus created out of thin air. It is not funded by tariffs, and it is not a gift personally issued by the president. The money already existed. Congress had previously approved billions of dollars for military housing allowances. That funding was meant to help service members with the rising cost of housing. The Pentagon then chose to redirect a portion of that already approved money into a one-time lump sum payment. That's the dividend. Same money, different packaging. So when you hear tariffs paid for this, that's not how federal budgeting works. Tariff revenue goes into the general treasury. It does not magically convert into military bonuses at presidential will. Congress controls the purse, always has, always will. This is where the speech crossed from patriotic framing into misleading storytelling. The president strongly implied that his payment was possible because of his trade policy. That implication is false. Tariffs do not generate a surplus earmarked for troops. And even more important, this payment required no new executive brilliance. The money was already there. Rebranding existing funds as a dividend creates the illusion that something new was created when it wasn't. This is not illegal, but it is misleading. Another subtle trick in the announcement was urgency. Phrases like "checks are already on the way" and "just in time for Christmas." That language creates the impression that everything is immediate and already finalized. In reality, the Department of Defense still had to determine eligibility, process payroll systems, and issue guidance. That takes time. Presidents don't send checks, agencies do, but urgency sells. Let's talk about the number, 1776. That number is not policy, it's branding. It's designed to trigger patriotism, gratitude, and emotional loyalty. And once emotion enters the conversation, critical thinking leaves the room. Because now, questioning the funding sounds like disrespecting the troops. That's the trick. The troops deserve support. That part is true. But symbolic numbers don't change where money comes from or how government actually functions. You might be thinking, so what? Troops still get paid. True. But here's why this matters. When leaders blur the line between congressional authority and executive power, citizens start believing presidents can personally dispense money like kings. They can't. When funding is repackaged and sold as a personal achievement, voters lose the ability to judge real policy effectiveness. And when people don't understand how money actually moves, they're easier to manipulate next time. This isn't just about the dividend. It fits a broader pattern. Take something that already exists, rename it, wrap it in symbolism, claim credit, move on. It works because most people don't have time to read footnotes. That's not an insult, that's reality, which is why shows like this exist. So let's recap. The 1776 Warrior Dividend is a one-time payment using money Congress already approved. It was not funded by tariffs, it was not created by executive magic, and it was not a spontaneous gift. It was rebranded money wrapped in patriotic language. That doesn't make it evil, but it does make the speech dishonest by omission. And once you understand that difference, you stop being impressed by announcements and start paying attention to mechanics, because real power is never in the speech, it's in the fine print. This is Glib Talk, and that's why you always read past the headline.
Talking to hear your own voice, that's clear.